Okay, so I cut out the other piece that's going to end up, that's the base, and this is going to be the lid. So now I'm going to show you how to cut out the other walls. And the important thing is here, if we're trying to make a cube, which is 4 by 4 inches, we're going to need the pieces to fit together. Now, if we're thinking about paper, we could easily put two of these together with no problem and just have them match up because paper is paper thin. But these guys have thickness, so we have to think of how are these shapes going to fit in between. So if we measure each of these, we look at them and they're roughly about ½ an inch. So when we put one of them on top of the other, that 4 inches turns to 4.5 inches. So we have to consider that in the measurement. So in order to do that, we have to think, okay, so our side two walls we're going to start with, when we put it on top like this, are going to be, see, 4.5, and that's too much. So we have to think how much, if that's ½ an inch and the top's going to be ½ an inch, we add those together, that's 1 inch, and we minus it from the 4, that makes it 3. So our two side walls are going to end up being 4 inches by 3 inches. So we account for the height of the base and the height of the lid. So we're going to go ahead and get our ruler, and we're going to start just like we did before. We're going to have the same width. We're going to have that 4-inch base, but in order to keep it like this, hovering, we'll show you that we want it to keep a 4-inch height. We have to consider the ½ inch from the top and the ½ inch from the bottom. So like I said, when we subtract that, ½ inch plus a ½ inch is 1 whole inch minus the 4 inch. That's going to give us 3. So our first wall is still going to be 4 inches wide because it's going to stretch from corner to corner, but it's going to be only 3 inches tall. So what we're going to do here is go ahead, oh, there's a little bubble. You can go ahead and pop that and just kind of smooth over it. Is we're going to make our 3 by 3 inch walls. Now while we start doing this, we have to think about the other two walls. So those ones have to fit not only between the base and the lid, but they have to fit between the other two walls. So if we take off a ½ an inch in every direction, our walls 3 and 4 are going to have a ½ inch taken from the top, the bottom, and both sides. So that means our next set of walls are only going to be 3 by 3 inches. So here we still measured out 4 by 3, and then we're going to go ahead and measure out this other 3-inch side. Remember, I always keep my dot there as a reference point on where to stop, and then I'll go ahead and connect them, and if we've done this correctly, once again your gap should be 4 inches, which it is. That's a good thing. So now I'm going to go back and go ahead and cut it out, and remember I'm keeping my pin tool straight up and down, because if I start curving it to the left or right, we're going to start getting a mitered angled edge, and we don't want that. So I'm going to keep it straight up and down, and I'm going to go ahead and finish this box up. But then I'm going to go ahead and stop it for a little bit and I'll finish cutting them, and when we come back we'll put it all together.
Several hours later.
So now we're back, and I went ahead and I have the base and the lid now, and I went ahead and cut out the two 3 by 4 inch side walls, and then I went ahead and also cut out the two 3 by 3 inch walls that are going to go between them. So I can kind of give you an idea of here how this fits together, because at first glance it looks kind of confusing. So I'm going to go ahead and take my 3 by 4 inch walls, and I'm going to put them together on the piece itself. So I'm just going to set it down there and kind of stick it on there. The clay's wet enough, just stick it. I'm not scoring slipping yet, I just want to set it up so you see it. So now when we put these two walls on there, we can go ahead and grab our ruler and take a look, and you'll see, I know you can't see it real well, you're going to have to trust me, that our height is now 3.5, which is perfect, because now when we put on the lid, now our height is 4 inches, which is exactly what we want it to be. And you can see that on the ruler. So I'll go ahead and take that off, and now we're going to take our two 3 by 3 inch walls, and you'll understand why we cut the excess off. Because now they have to accommodate for the thickness of the base and each wall. So if you see, they slide nice and cozy right between these two. And we'll put the other wall in. And then we'll go ahead and take our ruler, and we measure 4 inches by 4 inches And then this should be around 3.5, but let's go ahead and put our lid on, by 4 inches. Perfect. So now you can see that all these pieces, although their dimensions are a little bit different, all fit together with the same format. And what we have to do after we attach it is we're going to have to put a flange on the lid to help hold it in place. But we'll get to that a little bit later. So the next step we're going to be doing is getting everything ready by scoring and slipping and then attaching it so we actually have a box that will stay in one piece.